My name's Kelly Morgan, and I am a senior at KU, and I'm majoring in journalism with a co-major in international studies. I studied abroad in Ronda, Spain for a semester during the spring semester. I studied abroad probably because I was taking Spanish classes at the time, and I really wanted to get to the point where I was able to kind of communicate with someone on a fluent level. And Ronda, with the programs that they had there, was set up for beginners, so it was kind of nice for me because that's where I was at here. So I went there kind of hoping to become fluent and also to kind of fulfill my Spanish language requirements here at KU, and thankfully I was able to achieve both. The cost, when I finally got down to the nitty-gritty details of it, it was actually pretty comparable to the tuition I was paying at KU. The only real difference I found was just in travel costs that added to it, but just overall it was very comparable to what I was paying for KU. I guess when you first get to Ronda and you go to your first day of class over at the school, what you do is you take a placement test. And for us, that required a written portion and as well as an oral exam. And based on that, they'll kind of separate you and place you into different groups in different classrooms. And the group that you end up with will be the group that you're with for the remainder of the semester, at least for the most part. Within that group, you have a variety of students from all over the world, different cultures, different languages. So it's kind of nice in that you're forced to almost speak in Spanish because not everybody can speak English. So in that way you're able to get more practice and just kind of further develop your skills, and at the same time you're learning about all these other cultures. Like in my class we learned about Korea and France even. But with that class you'll go 5 times a week, and the class is sort of set up where you'll go almost in 2 large chunks. In the morning you'll go, I believe it was 9 to 11 at the beginning, and then you'll have sort of a 45-minute break where you can go and get a snack or book that last minute travel flight if you wanted to. And then you go back and you finish the rest of the day and you end at 2. And after that everybody kind of goes home and has their big Spanish lunch with their families. Well, I got really lucky. I was placed with an amazing family, the Guzmans. Carmen was the mom, and she was pretty much the one who was there all the time. My family was a little bit different than some of the other ones. There were ones that would have younger kids, or ones where you'd even have grandparents living there. But for me, Carmen was kind of the steady, and then she had grown-up kids who were in like late 20s, early 30s, and so they would kind of all come in and out different times. Family is huge in Spain, so at some point if you study abroad in Spain you're going to meet everyone in the family. And for me it was every Wednesday. People would come and we would have this big family meal together, which is usually paella, which is delicious. I loved it. And with the family you kind of do different things. For me, Carmen and my host mom and I would go on walks like around the city. She would kind of point out different things, like we'd go to the countryside, and it's beautiful around Ronda. You just have these huge valleys, and so that was kind of nice. I know with other families, sometimes they would have country houses and they would go out there for a weekend too, or if they had older siblings that were more around our age, they would take us out to tapas, and it just kind of really depended on the family. With the school, they offer kind of once every month the opportunity to go on these big excursion trips, and it's usually to a major city kind of around the area. I know for my year at least we were able to go to Granada and Seville, and there were even some other smaller excursions like to half an hour away to the beach. Really tough, but but you pay just a little fee to go, and that covers bus there and back. And it's actually usually at a discounted price. And so it's cheap and it's a great way to bond with your classmates, and you go and they'll have a tour set up usually for you. So you can go and kind of get to know the city a little bit better, and then we'll take a break and they kind of just let you go. And you can go explore for a little bit if you want to, or shop. I know a lot of people did that. And it's just kind of a nice way to sort of get a feel for what the city and surrounding areas are like. And then I was also really lucky. Ronda is located in the south of Spain, so myself and then other people in my school as well were able to travel to Morocco. And it sounds, like it would be this really long trip, but it really wasn't, which was kind of funny to me because you literally take an hour ferry across the Mediterranean and you're in this completely different culture. And it was just so bizarre because, here you drive an hour away and, you're Kansas City, which is fun, but it's just not quite the same as, going from a European country to Northern Africa. But I was able to do that, and that was a great experience. And then it's kind of nice because as you sort of make friends throughout the school, you're able to plan different trips of your own. Like, if you go on one of the excursions and you don't feel like you got to stay in a city long enough, there's always, 5 people who want to go back with you for a weekend. So I was able to go to Granada a few times, which was great. It's a college town or city, and then I got to go to Seville. A lot of us went to Cadiz for Carnival, which was kind of almost like a Mardi Gras more or less, but a big part of Spain, the culture. And then with some other friends, I was able to go to Barcelona for a weekend and Madrid, which they're far away, but Ronda is close enough to Malaga where it doesn't cost, travel isn't as expensive as you would think it would be. And then for spring break, we had Semana Santa off, which is basically their spring break. And a big group of us went over to Italy, and we just traveled up and down Italy for the whole week and got to experience a little bit of Italian culture too. I have a lot of favorite memories from Ronda, but it's really hard to pick one. I think one of my favorite ones would probably have to be in the first week. We were, my classmates and I, it was a pretty sunny day, and we all just kind of decided last minute to go and hike down the famous Tahoe, or the gorge, in the middle of the city. So we all got together and we hiked down, and we were there for like 2 hours maybe, but it was a beautiful sunny Spanish day, olive trees everywhere. And it was really just a unique experience. It was completely different from Kansas, and it just really almost sort of helped me to see, or just kind of was that moment where I realized, oh my God, I'm in Spain. It's different than anything I've ever done before, different than anything I've ever seen before. And it's just kind of in that moment I realized that. It's one of my favorite memories. I really can't define how much going to Ronda helped me or benefited me. From a language standpoint, I came away from there able to not only speak, anything from a textbook, but also, just like the cool Spanish jargon. I had a lisp. I was very proud of that. But yeah, from an academic standpoint, learning Spanish, and then from a personal standpoint, I just growing in confidence, knowing that I can, problems will come, but I can face them and I will be able to deal with them. And, it made me a savvy traveler, and that's kind of fun to brag about. And then as far as the future goes, I think studying abroad in Spain really made me want to experience more. It's, I thought by going over there I'd kind of get something out of my system, but in reality it just sort of made me hungry for more. Like, I guess, in the future I want to go and continue speaking Spanish and improving my Spanish skills. So, I'm looking at going back to Spain. I'm looking at Peace Corps in South America. And I know that I might not have the confidence to do that if I hadn't gone to study abroad. Going there was the best thing I've ever done. I got to see so much, and it really helped me not only just in learning Spanish, but also just kind of becoming more the person I wanted to be. And by taking that risk, I was able to achieve that. ¿Dónde vas? Mi nombre es Kelly Morgan y estudié en Ronda, España.